All right, good afternoon, everybody. And it is middle of July, and I know it's been a few weeks, so it's good to finally catch up, which means that we've all been busy, back to normal playing, and we got Peter Eisler joining us from the deck or the cockpit of somewhere at Pyewacket off the coast of California. What the hell are you doing out there, Pedro?
We're taking the boat from its home in San Diego up to LA to queue it up for the start, which is in 5-6 days time and on Saturday morning. So it got put in the water. This dry sailed 70 footer gets splashed, and we got the MH0 there up on the front sail and big brand new mainsail there, and getting ready for the big race to Hawaii.
Yeah, what's this race called again?
This is the Transpac, the famous Transpac race, LA to Hawaii.
Yeah. Hey, what? I don't know if you can wander around, but maybe give us a quick walk through the boat. What's maybe a little deck walk?
Yeah, I was down below, but it's so noisy down there because one of the challenges or features of this boat is that it has an engine that's on all the time. So it's kind of like you're in a farm in a barn with a tractor engine going 24/7 down below. There you can see, tell me if not, but up at the wet part of the boat, there's only about 7 knots of breeze, but once it blows about 15, it starts getting quite wet up here. And by the time it's 20, the entire deck is awash all the way back to the wheels there. But this is the old Telefonica, which sailed in a few Volvo ocean races ago, Volvo 70 that's been turbocharged with a 3 or 4 meter taller mast and lighter weight, different foils, and dagger boards, canting keel, and push button winches. You see there's no pedestals there at all, but it's a really well sorted out boat. This is kind of cool here. You can see the stacking system. On the West Coast, they let us move our sails. Nothing else can be moved, but they changed the racing rules slightly. And so we have these poles with pretty blue tennis balls set up here to stack the sails. And so hiking out is optional unless it's quite light air, because there's no lifelines anymore because the sails stack up all the way there. And when it gets windy, of course, we stack all the sails way aft.
So are you guys in your current setup? You're ready to rock with the start? Everything's all ready to go?
Yeah, we're getting there. As you can see, there's some heavy duty work going on here. Say hi, guys, to the Sailing Around the World with Sailing World. You're on TV now. This fitting here, which we're still putting together, is here's another one here. Is not what the main sheet trimmer sits on. It's actually the inboard end fitting for the strut, because we are rated to be able to basically take the sheeting position. There's the clue of this big masthead 0, and move it outboard with a carbon fiber pole that goes from that fitting right here back aft all the way up to the clue. So you can basically, like on a 420, when you hold the jib lead outboard more downwind or on a reach, it gets a better shape. Well, that will enable us to do that with this sail. And we also can, for the smaller sails, we can put that same carbon fiber strut on the mast right here and move it outboard. So it makes the boat even wider than it is.
And so is that new deck equipment or just a modification?
It's all pretty new. We put it on a few weeks ago and did a test sail with it, and we broke everything, so it was undersized. So that's a new inboard end fitting. It was just made. We have a new carbon fiber strut, and we're quite worried that we're going to break something. And obviously in a long ocean race, that's the worst thing to happen, is to have a breakdown. So it's a science project. It's still underway with 6 days to go before the start.
Now, the racing rules don't allow outriggers in theory, right? So how does that work?
Right. Yeah. So just like the change in the racing rules that lets us stack our sails and not keep them down below until we use, or wherever you put them until you use them. The racing rules for we're racing under the ORR rating system, and the ORR is changes as a class rule. It changes the racing rules and allows for lured outriggers if the boat is handicapped for them. And so we're taking a rating penalty to even use the outriggers. Same with the canting keel, for that matter.
What's the penalty?
Power benches.
I don't have it at the tip of my tongue, but it's about a 30-minute penalty over the course of the 6-day race. So it's not insignificant, but obviously we did a bunch of studies and felt it was going to be worth it. And this boat here, we lost our arch rival, the 100-footer Rio. They're not doing the race, so the next big, our fastest boat will be sort of 75 footers that are not like the Volvo 70. So they, as long as we don't break, we're just looking for the fastest lapse time, and hence the outriggers. Even if here it comes now.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
all right,
you're gonna get to see it
in action.
There's bowman extraordinaire Robbie King getting it ready. First time used this new pole. It has the Southern Spars logo on it. But it has about 12 downhauls and uphauls and outhauls and inhauls to get it all rigged. But it really does make the sails a lot more efficient in shape. All the sails on this boat are sort of what I call a jib shape, right? They're, a triangle, very flat. So as soon as you ease them off at all, you can see probably the twist in the zero, right, MH0 right there. You sort of lose the efficiency of its airfoil shape. But with the strut, it's like you have a wider boat and you can make the jib look good again.
And so essentially it's not just pushing out, it has the capability of pulling down as well to control each. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, just imagine a spinnaker pole with a topping lift and a downhaul. You can adjust the up-down position anywhere you want. And so you effectively can adjust the jib lead that way. Obviously this sail is designed to sheet all the way out, but with a little bit of tweaking, we can fine tune that. There, the downhaul is being rigged right now.
That would be fun in a Chinese job.
Yeah. They put a new the old days when you put the spinnaker pole in when you rolled to windward.
Yeah.
Well, now we're gonna put the lured reaching strut in when we heel too much.
Well, cool.
What's the Monohull record for the race?
Yeah, Comanche holds it. It's just tad over 5 days, 5 days, 2 hours. And they did it in pretty tough to beat. I mean, that's a much faster boat, but the early weather studies I've been doing show we're a pretty fast race. I don't think we'll get to the record, but some of the models say we will, so we'll keep believing them for the time being.
And how many are you sailing with, and who's your primary helmsman? Is Mr. Disney?
Yeah, well, 6 days of racing, everybody gets to drive. We got a combination of the original Pyewacket team, guys like Benny Mitchell and Scott Easom and Gary Weissman, and then some new young guys. We got Daryl there, just going from New Zealand, Robbie Kane on the bow. Got there's Jan back aft from Annapolis, and a few guests doing the delivery with us. Look at that, wind just came up, soon to be going 12 knots, with 10 knots of wind. This boat is so fast.
That's outstanding. All right, well, make sure you keep recording. Record during the race. Just report back on how the setup works. All right.
I guess we're not going to be seeing you next Monday.
You won't see me next Monday. I'll be the satellite connection does not allow it.
Maybe you could like pre-record something that shows your intended routing, and then we can see how you followed it.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. But I'm not allowed to release it now, but maybe after the fact.
Oh, okay.
Sounds good. Well, cool. We'll have a great race. Keep us on board if you want. We'll just kind of chat while we watch you guys work. Maybe you can pan the camera at the team there with the pole, and we'll watch how long and start running the clock on how long this takes to get that pole out there.
Yeah, well, you probably should have started the clock a while ago, and they haven't gotten much farther. They've actually gone backwards. Like, oh no, lead it this way. No, lead it that. No, the orange rope goes through this one.
Yeah. We'll have to keep working on it.
That's why they have 6 days to go.
Rigged it up.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll try this at home.
Yeah. There you go. By the seat of his pants. Well, all right, man. We'll leave those guys real quick. Ed, I wanted to circle back with you because you went off racing, and I think actually, I won't want to torture the viewers, but I think it's all somewhere up there. Hey, I did find a little recap of. Let's see if we can find this. Let's go full screen. Just to you make an appearance in this video, I think at the beginning. This is what you're up to, right?
It's rare even between the ultra-close
Nice
RC44s for an event to go to the wire in such an extreme way as it did at the conclusion of the 44 Cup Maelstrom today. Going into the 10th and final race of the series, 5 teams were still capable of winning the event. John Bassadone's Peninsula Racing, with Ed Baird calling tactics, won today's opening race with a significant margin.
Okay, so you won the opening race. And then
On that day. On that day. That was our one moment for the week. It was not a good week for us.
What's the scoop?
Oh, I mean, the racing is really great. It's so close and so tight. And, we had a few problems and we just ended up sneaking back towards the back more than we wanted to. But you can see that it's just right there in reach. And, we just need to stop having little catastrophic moments, not always caused by ourselves, by the way, that take you out of the racing. So, but it's great to get everybody out there on the water again. We were in Sweden this time in Marstrand, fantastic conditions. The moment we got off the plane, it was like nothing had ever happened in Sweden. There was, everybody was happy outside, restaurants were full, the people were everywhere. We had lots of spectators. It was really quite a change from, the last year, and certainly not what any of us expected. All the reports or all the news, I guess, that you watch, keeps telling us how dire everything is in Europe and so forth. And it's just, that's not how we see it when we're actually there. So it was pretty fun.
It's amazing you guys can get there.
Marstrand, Ed. Like, it's a pretty iconic sailing venue, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's it's well known for the match race that they've had there for quite a long time that Magnus Holmberg and his friends put together back in the early 90s. And terrific venue for stadium match racing, where people can just climb up on the rocks all around the venue and watch every moment of the race. And when they did that, when they really put the event on seriously, they lined speakers for half of a mile down the rocks on the coastline, so that you could be anywhere and you could hear Pete Montgomery doing play-by-play. And it was really fun, and the racing was very close and very intense. And of course, there's big rocks all around. You have to play those as part of the game, and it's really interesting. But then you go and race bigger boats, and you just go just outside the island where it's a little deeper and a little more space. And there's lots of activity out there. The Dragons were racing when we were there. There's a pretty big fleet of local handicap racers that was out doing a couple of evening races, and the 44s were there having a good time.
Speaking of which, didn't my memory serves me right? Didn't Telefonica hit the bricks pretty hard there in an exit of a Volvo race? Is that right? Is that the same boat, Peter? Different boat. Well, I gotta unmute you.
Yeah, that may be why his whisker pole broke.
Yeah. Was that a previous Telefonica or the boat that you're on? I can't remember. It was long ago.
There were 2 Telefonicas, red and blue, right?
Right.
So it was one of them, and
Yeah,
I don't know whether it
I
was
think
this
it was
one
the
or
blue
not.
one. Yeah, I remember Simon Fisher coming up with a bloody head and everything. I think there was a point. It was a year because Kenny Reed was on the other boat and he was doing the oh shit, don't go there. You know, he'd almost hit the same rock or something. But
Yeah.
we'll have to dig that footage up out of somewhere.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty ugly. You might want to dig up the picture of that because they popped up in a way that big keel boats shouldn't be popping up on top of a rock, you know.
Not too many rocks between LA and Hawaii, however.
Luckily,
Yeah.
yeah. Luckily.
Yeah.
So the boys have got the outrigger set up now, and you can see it in action.
There you go. So let's give us a little look up the leech. What happens when you do things with it?
Look at it here. I probably shouldn't stand in the danger zone since it's the first time, but listen to this noise. But look, I don't know if that's a good angle for the jib, but it's much more of a jib shape, you know, what you're used to seeing before you ease out and a normal jib sail gets all twisted out on a reach or going downwind. But it's like you had an arc-shaped traveler that just moved the lead outboard to where it should be. And
What's the boat speed now, Pete?
Oh boy, it's gone down. That's
Whoa.
mark that. Take it off.
Yeah, but you're sailing 140 true wind angle too. You were 125 before.
That's all right. It might have to do with our guest helmsman, but we won't be micromanaging that.
Cool. Okay, so real back to you, Ed. Just a quick one. In the report, there was the Charisma, which was leading into this last day, and they had a shocker there, and it seemed like a lot of the highlight videos show this kind of port tack pileup starting to happen. It seemed like a kind of a regular thing during the week. Were they the victim of that as well?
You know, there's a lot of pushing at the top mark every race, and it seems like we all get there at the same time. Very exciting, but things changed around quickly. I mean, if we'd have had another day of racing, it would have been a whole nother group of scores because I think Aqua won the event, but you know, going into that day, they were not in the lead. I think they might have been in fifth or something, but it was just so close that it didn't take much. You have a good day and you jump up front, and somebody else has a bad day and they drop back. So you know, it's good action. It's good racing. But we've been doing a lot of other stuff too. I mean, before we went over there, we went up and did a little bit of prep for the Chicago to Mackinac race, which happens this coming weekend. Jonathan's been, he was up, I think you guys were over there doing the Queen's Cup, right, Jonathan?
Yeah, I didn't race on it.
Oh, okay. And, so some of the fleet, some of the 52 fleet did a Queen's Cup, which is basically a race across Lake Michigan. And they get a little bit of offshore time that way to get ready for the Mac race. We did it on our own, trying to look at some different sails and equipment that we've got going. So we didn't get a chance to do that race. From there, I went to the 44s, then I got home and I had one day to sort of set everything up for this little hurricane that came through, decided to come right through our neck of the woods. And so that was a bit of excitement, getting everything ready when my son was out of town. So I had to get his house ready too. And now we have red tide all over Tampa Bay. So we have a big fish kill, unfortunately, which is really tough. But, lots going on in the summertime here.
Yeah, indeed.
So how do you reconfigure a TP52 to go from inshore to offshore?
Yeah, well, as you know, there's a couple different certificates. There's an inshore certificate and an offshore one. The inshore, you don't have the same equipment as you do offshore. You don't have bunks. You don't have, some of the cooking facilities and toilet, things like that inside the boat. Because you're racing more like a one design day racer. And then when you go offshore, you have to have all that stuff, and you have to have safety gear, the harnesses, all the equipment for man overboard and so forth, which, in day races, we've got chase boats and it's daytime. So, there's not as much of that we need. So there's a change. The boat gets heavier. The sails get a little different. We use some furling sails on the offshore races because they're more reaching oriented. the daytime windward leeward courses, we never have a furling sail up in any of that. So all those things get rated differently. And like Pete was saying, we've got a choice of whether to put outriggers, out to push jibs out and make them more efficient, but you take a penalty. And I'm interested in the 30 minutes over 6 days for a boat that size. I would think that would be well worth having. If you ever had the moment to put that up, you'd only need a few hours of it to make up that kind of time, because they really do make a difference.
So have you gone with outriggers for the 52 then, or you going standard?
We're not, and I don't know if any of the boats will be. It's a pretty big hit for for that type of a boat at the moment, and for that type of a race. And especially now that we're starting to see the weather forecast for this race, looks like it's going to be upwind all the way to Mackinac Island. So it wouldn't help you to have an outboard lead.
Speaking, let's do the quick look at that forecast. Jonathan, you're doing on a 52 as well.
No, I'm not racing.
You're not doing it. Okay. All right, Ed. Well, I'll be doing it. I'm on the 27-footer, the small boat, double-handed.
Oh, dude, 27-footer.
Going upwind and that. So what's in our future?
Well, you may actually go downwind at some point, because you're going to be there for another week after we finish.
So I still have time to bail, huh?
Yeah. No. I mean, it's going to be really nice conditions. It looks like it's going to be sort of 10 to 15 at the beginning from the northeast. And then it's going to slowly settle down that's on Saturday. That's going to settle down a little bit on Sunday, and Monday might be pretty light, but then things start to change around again. And we're not looking at the forecast after that, because the DeVos family has a nice rule that, if you're not there by Monday afternoon on the boats that they sail, then they just turn right and go into one of the beautiful harbors where they've got friends and family. So, nice. But for the smaller boats, you'd definitely be out there, on Monday and into Tuesday, possibly.
Mm. All right. Well, so you won't see me here next Monday then. I guess Eisler will be going across one ocean. I'll be going across what probably feels like another ocean.
Well, it is. When you're out in the middle of Lake Michigan, you can't see either side. So it certainly feels like an ocean. And I've been out there in some pretty good storms that make you feel like you're out in the middle of, Mother Nature for sure.
For sure.
But a pretty benign forecast overall, though. I mean, sort of a big high pressure and pretty easy one for the big boats, huh?
Well, except for the fact that it's just upwind. Everybody wants to go downwind and get there, a little quicker. But this is more like a delivery. Every delivery is upwind except for the one that Pete's on. But all of us that deliver boats anywhere, we always have to go upwind to deliver. So that's going to be more what this is.
All right. Well, perhaps the boat will see us on their way back down south, and we'll be transiting, waving.
We are, this is for the first time, I'm actually going to be able to stay for a couple of days, and my wife's coming up to join me, and we're going to explore Mack Island a little bit. So we may very well be able to say hi up there.
All right, cool. All right, Jonathan, what's cooking with you these days then?
Not much. I'm kind of laying low right now, and haven't been doing a lot of racing except some local dinghy sailing.
The arrows are taking over the world.
Arrows and tasers.
All right, cool. Well, I think we're at our time. Maybe we got one last look. Eisler, what's the final setup on that thing? See if I can unmute him.
He's still slowing down. They're down to 7 knots.
Check. Yeah, check it out. Yeah, we're doing fine tuning now.
Oh boy,
we're moving it inboard some, right? I mean, it doesn't need to be upward all the way. So, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 to 1 down low. There's a lot of guy wires going on there, but essentially, as the wind's gone down, move the lead inboard some, but there's some slatting going on. That won't look like that when we go to Hawaii.
Hey, Pedro, the outrigger pole itself, is that something that you can expand its length, or is it just a fixed length?
No, it's just a fixed length. And like I said, the one that we sailed with in practice for the first time last week ended up having, when we packed it up, the boys noticed a lot of delamination and cracks. So it's under a tremendous amount of load, as is the fitting that it attaches to.
Yeah.
And so it's one size, but you can do this sort of half arrangement like this if you want to go inboard some.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, you go collect the numbers on that. Thanks everybody for joining this week. Ed, we'll see you on the lake. Hopefully, Jonathan, we'll see you when we get back, I guess.
Yep. All right.
Have a good race. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Yeah. Have a good race, everybody. Next week.
Okay. We'll see you. Cheers. Thanks,
See you
Peter.
guys.
Still on.